Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hiring for your small business? If you're not looking for professionals on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. That's like looking for your car keys in a fish tank. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't even visit other leading job sites. So start looking in the right place. With LinkedIn, you can hire professionals like a professional. Post your free job on linkedin.com/spoken today.
Hey, it's Danny Pellegrino from Everything Iconic. Ready to upgrade your style game without blowing your budget? Check out Quince. They've got all the good stuff, shirts and polos, activewear, and fine leather goods, all at 50 to 80% less than other high-end brands. And the best part? They're all about safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing. Get that luxury vibe without the luxury price tag. Hit up quince.com/upgrade for free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's quince.com/upgrade.
Hello, and welcome to Voices from the Battlefield, part of Waterloo Remembered. In this extract, historian Gareth Glover reads from the recollections of Major Busgen of the Nassau battalion that fought alongside the British Guard at Hougoumont.
Hello, my name is Gareth Glover, and I want to read you some extracts from the account by Captain Maurice Busgen, who commanded a battalion of the Nassau regiment that actually defended Hougoumont Farm throughout the battle. This account has always been important to me ever since it really put me on the road to the discovery of the second break-in via the west door. His account begins: on the morning of the 18th of June, the 2nd Regiment Nassau was positioned on the left wing of the army, when its 1st Battalion under my command, amounting to 800 men, was ordered to immediately break camp and march to and occupy the Hougoumont Farm located before the right wing of the centre. Shortly thereafter, at about 9:30, it was led by one of the Duke of Wellington's ATCs past the front of the army to this position. On my arrival with the battalion, the farm and garden were unoccupied. A company of Brunswick Jager stood on the furthest edge of the wood. A battalion of English Guards of the Coldstream Regiment under the command of Colonel MacDonald was actually partly deployed behind the farm, partly in a hollow way behind the said gardens, parallel with the lower part of the former. From the existing defence preparations, barricading of the upper gate, loopholes cut in the same, and part of them in the garden wall, it was obvious that this post had already been occupied by other troops. There was also an ample supply of infantry ammunition in one of the rooms of the dwelling house, as was discovered later. I immediately undertook the dispositions I deemed necessary for the defence. The Grenadier Company I stationed in the buildings, and 2 companies in the adjoining vegetable garden. I placed 1 company behind the hedge of the orchard. The Voltigeurs moved into line with the previously mentioned Brunswick Jager, and 1 company served these as a reserve, being placed at some distance to their rear. This deployment was barely completed when at 11 o'clock in the morning the enemy began his attack on the wood with a heavy cannonade with shell and case shot. Swarms of tirailleurs then pressed forward, supported by formed troop bodies, and after tenacious resistance of the 3 companies posted there, pushed these back towards the farm and the gardens. Closely pursued by the enemy, the retiring troops fell back, partly to the right around the buildings, partly to the left through the opening between the garden wall and the hedge of the orchard into the orchard. Kept back by the murderous fire directed at close quarters at the enemy from buildings, garden wall and the orchard hedge, he was put to flight at great loss by the combined attack of the already mentioned English Guards battalions who had moved into the orchard and who pursued him into the wood. It proved impossible, however, to drive him out of the wood completely during the remainder of the battle, as he was always reinforced by fresh troops. The English battalion afterwards returned to its former position. The Brunswick Jager Company, after bravely helping repel the enemy and suffering heavily, rejoined its corps on the main position. Towards 1 o'clock, the enemy renewed his attack and advanced in a great rush against the buildings and gardens, and attempted to escalate the garden wall and to gain a footing behind the orchard hedge, but was chased off by the skirmish fire from the garden wall and repulsed at all points. During this attack, the enemy set fire to large stacks of hay and straw close to the farm in an attempt to make it spread to the buildings, but without success. Between 2 and 3 o'clock, the enemy then moved up a battery to the right side of the farm and started a heavy cannonade with his guns and howitzers on the buildings. It did not take long, and they were all in flames. The enemy now for the third time made a rash attack which was mainly directed at the buildings. Aided by the smoke and flames, his grenadiers forced their way into the upper courtyard through a small side door. They were, however, driven out again by the fire from the building's windows, and the advance through the lower gate and courtyard of a detachment of the already mentioned English battalion. Some intruders were taken prisoner, but 7 of our grenadiers were also captured by the enemy during this action. This attack, which ended at about 3:30 o'clock, was the enemy's last serious attempt on the Hougoumont position. The skirmish fire, however, lasted with hardly an interruption until the end of the battle. Neither upon my being detached, nor during this entire period, was a commander named to me under whose orders I was to operate. No Allied troops were drawn up near Hougoumont to either its right or left. If I mention in this account only the battalion of the Coldstream Regiment of the English Guards, then it is because I had seen no other troops sent in support of the battalion under my command. I do not know if and what other troops were later detached to reinforce this position. Due to the continuing fighting and the view restricted by trees, hedges and walls, I was unable to observe what was happening at a distance. The battalion occupied this position throughout the night, and upon receipt of orders joined the regiment on the Nivelle Road on the morning of the 19th of June. Major Busgen.
That was the historian Gareth Glover reading from Major Busgen of the Nassau's battalion's recollections of the Battle of Waterloo. And Gareth's collected works, including the multi-volume Waterloo Archive, are available to order online now. Stay tuned to the Napoleonicist, where more instalments of the Voices from the Battlefield series will be released throughout the day.
Why don't more infant formula companies use organic, grass-fed whole milk instead of skim? Why don't more infant formula companies use the latest breast milk science? Why don't more infant formula companies run their own clinical trials? Why don't more infant formula companies use more of the proteins found in breast milk? Why don't more infant formula companies have their own factories instead of outsourcing their manufacturing? We wondered the same thing. So we made ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.
Even on a budget, quality is non-negotiable. That's why Quince is the place to score high-end essentials at 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Get your hands on buttery soft cashmere sweaters from just $60, Italian leather jackets, and so much more. And the best part about Quince, they exclusively partner with factories committed to safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing. Elevate your style without the elevated price tag with Quince. Go to quince.com/upgrade for free shipping and 365-day returns.